Hey friends, happy Star Wars Day! I have decided that each year from now on, this is the year 2022, that I am creating this video. I'm going to do a video each year, each Star Wars Day, about... First we're starting today with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and then next year we'll do Episode 2 and 3, and then so on, and probably get into some shows. So, I have some content for Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I'm kind of winging it today, X-winging it, if you will. Anyways, so today I'm going to talk about a lesson from The Phantom Menace, and oh my gosh, every single time that cute little little Annie, and just knowing that one day he's gonna grow up and kill other little children. How can this cute little kid grow up to do this and be this? Also wanted to tell you, because you need to know, I've got Darth Vader shirt on. Even though neither of these two things, are in Phantom Menace, but roll with me here. This is Star Wars stuff I've got. I've got stars. I've got this jacket from my friend Antonio. Shout out. Thank you very much. I've got cute little astronaut earrings because, come on. Look how freaking cute. Look how freaking cute. Okay, focus, Anna. So, I've been recently thinking about... Okay, so I just read... I had an energy drink, and so... Pardon me for being a little extra sporadic today, but I just finished reading Master and Apprentice, and it's a book following Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he's his Padawan, and it takes place right before The Phantom Menace, and so good. I love it. I gotta say, I'm pretty darn sure Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite character. And I recently was thinking about him and thinking on his personality type, which I'm thinking I might do a video about that sometime because I just really want to talk about it, even though it's a little bit off from my normal content. At least it falls perfectly in line with geeky stuff and personality, but it's like, it'll be a bit more in-depth than I think I've built a foundation for yet, but I just really want to make it. So, all that to say, I've been thinking on this a lot, and then I rewatched The Phantom Menace last night, and I actually shared this quote that I want to talk about today in a recent video. I was on Joyce Meng's channel. She has a lot more kind of advanced discussions on Myers-Briggs kind of related stuff and some other personality things, but usually it's Myers-Briggs and going kind of deeper into the cognitive functions. But in this video that I was in, it was a panel of INFJ, female INFJ content creators, and they were my people. It was just so lovely. It was so fun. But I thought of this quote and thinking about how to describe my my fourth cognitive function is extroverted sensing, which basically is kind of about that function is kind of being more present and in the moment, and that's something that I struggle with. And so I thought of this quote, and that's what I want to focus on in this video today. So the quote is, Qui-Gon Jinn is talking to Obi-Wan, and he says, "Don't center on your anxieties, Obi-Wan. Keep your concentration here and now, where it belongs." And Obi-Wan replies back, "But Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future." And Qui-Gon replies back, "But not at the expense of the moment." And so as someone who I often struggle with being in the present moment, I'm very, both in good ways, like one of my strengths is being very forward thinking. I'm a really good planner. I'm good at kind of brainstorming and thinking how things might work and how things interconnect and how things might branch out into the future. That's one of my superpowers, but something that where that becomes a weakness, becomes a bit of a problem, is when I'm too focused on the future, and I kind of lose the present moment. It's so focused on the bigger picture, kind of like missing the trees for the forest. It's just like looking so far ahead, say you're driving in a car and you're looking so far ahead down the road that you're missing what's happening right in front of you. That'd be a problem, right? You need to be very mindful of what's happening right there. But that's the same in real life. It's good to plan, at least to have some general aim. I think we're all very different, and some things work for different people with the level of planning and the specifics of that. I am a planner, but I know I have some friends that it works better for them to just kind of have general aims. Developing awareness of their values and what's most important to them, their priorities, so that then they can, work towards the life that they want. And I know for myself, it works better to plan a bit more in detail. However, I just have to be careful that I don't get too attached to those plans and those details, because when you are so focused on looking ahead and creating that plan, it tends to come, at least for me, it comes with that weakness then of not being very adaptable. Like when things suddenly come up, I'm like, this is not the plan. Like, what do I do now? I don't want to just throw out the whole plan. But, so that's something I've been working on, to try to become more adaptable, more flexible, and changing my plan to work better with what's actually happening right now, with this new information that's come, or, whatever's come up. And that's something that I grew a lot in 2021. You can check out this video. I talk about it. My focus for the year was make mistakes, and which I talk about more why I chose that. But this helped me to kind of get out of being so rigid with like, this has to go according to plan. I've got to, always be thinking ahead, but just kind of letting myself live more in the moment. And actually, the year that I chose the word experience, that was very helpful as well, to make sure I was taking time to just really take things in, kind of getting out of my head once again, and getting out of like just always thinking forward, but just like not always being a human doing, but being a human being, and just being present in the moment, taking it all in, just like getting out of my mind and just looking around me with, the five senses. And so that's helped a lot in my growth, but it's still a big work in progress. But I guess my main point here is that balance is important, and I feel like that's an answer to a lot of the things that I tend to talk about here, is just like, it's not either or, it's the balance of how do we balance this in? Because on the one hand, if you are only living in the present moment, I mean, where there's no direction in life, when you're sailing a ship, you have to keep your eye on where you're going. Or even, with that car metaphor again of like, I said, like, you need to make sure you're paying attention to your surroundings, but you also have to know where you're going, and like, paying attention to the road signs ahead, of like making sure you're going on to the right destination that you were aiming for. But if you have no aim and you're only just like looking right here at what's right in front of you, like you're just going to end up somewhere random. So it's important to have that mindfulness of the future. And like I said before, like getting to know what's important to you, what do you value, what are your priorities, so that then you can kind of create an aim of where am I wanting to go in life, who do I want to become, so that you know that life isn't just an accident that's happening to you, but you were being intentional. But then don't become like neurotic Anna, who is way too intentional and is just way too aware of how like we don't know how much time we have left, and which you'd think that would make you more of in the present moment. But for me, it's like I gotta like plan ahead. I gotta I get really it gets a little much. But balancing that in myself to make sure like, hey, sometimes you can kind of go with the flow. You need to like actually pay attention to what your body is telling you in the moment. Like maybe you had this plan for today, but your body is telling you need a nap, so take a freaking nap. Or maybe you just need some fun. And my counselor, actually, she gave me this list of all the different kinds of rest, like your physical health, the mental, the emotional, the social, the spiritual, the creative, I think was one of them too. All these different areas. What things are you not getting enough of? And that's also why I love learning about personality, because like, with the Jungian cognitive types, with Myers-Briggs, it's quite easy to see like, okay, well, these are my top 4 main cognitive functions. How am I serving each of these? Like, am I giving enough time? Like for me, I need a lot of time to just like sit and just kind of let my mind wander. Like there's so much that I'm just like taking in subconsciously, and like I just need time to just kind of organize that and just like think and plan and dream. And when I'm not having that time to just like sit with my thoughts, I just start feeling exhausted. I start feeling depressed. I can start feeling anxious, all those negative feelings. I start to feel lost when I've lost kind of focus of the bigger picture and where I'm aiming, and if I don't have a plan. And so that is important for me. And then, like my extroverted feeling, like getting like the social needs met. Like, am I actually spending time with people? Because I'm an introvert and my biggest mode is introvert land and living in my head. And so I do need the majority of my time to be that, like being alone, working on my own things. But like we all have, the needs for connection and the needs for alone time, no matter your personality type. It just kind of divides up a bit differently. My video keeps getting cut off. Like, I record a bit and then I go back to watch it, and I'm glad I did, or I would have missed it. But like the last minute was just like a blank screen. Like, I just kind of glitched, and then everything went white. So I'm just gonna wrap up this point and say that this is words. This is why it's important to learn more about yourself, know yourself, grow yourself, as my tagline says, because then like what things that you're needing, and we all have like kind of the same basic needs, but again, like sometimes we need more of certain things, and so learning that about yourself is very helpful, which is a part, I think, of being more present in the moment, not just like the external aware, but like being mindful of yourself and what you need. Because, you're important, and you need to take care of yourself. That was weird. I just shot a kiss at you. There's another quote in this movie that goes along with the same concept when Qui-Gon is talking to little Annie as he's about to be in the pod race, and he says, concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think. Use your instincts. And I don't know about you, but like, whenever they say things like that, like, in Star Wars, my first thought is like, but you need to think. I think more people need to think more. I'm very against the whole like, oh, just trust your heart, and just because I feel like our hearts are not very trustworthy, and that's why we do a lot of self-talk work, because our thoughts are what create our feelings, and then our feelings cause our actions, and so you just kind of backtrack and you can work on that. A lot of it first is involuntary, but it's things that you can work on so that you can, handle things with better wisdom. But I think what this is getting at is the like, use your instincts. And, this is different because he's a little boy who's very strong in the Force already. So, he needs to trust the Force. But like in real life, when you're a child, you don't have very well developed instincts yet, right? But like when you are continuing to live life, continuing to be in the moment and observe things and take things in, and then also, to process it later and just to kind of make sense of things and recognizing those patterns, you begin to hone your instincts so that they become better developed and something that you can begin to trust more and more, because it's not just trusting your instincts, it's trusting yourself. Because I think personally, what makes up those instincts, it's things that are kind of happening subconsciously, that is that mixture of, your feelings and your values, like what's important to you, the things that you think are right and wrong, both morally and, just smartly. But as you begin to learn things, and it's just all kind of filed there in your brain, and like, especially if you're an intuitive type, but everybody has this to some degree, is like you are taking in things that again are like being filed away in your mind, sometimes even things that you're taking in subconsciously, these concepts of things that have happened, these patterns that you are beginning to recognize. That's why people who've come out of like abusive childhoods or abusive relationships, they are often way better at picking up on things that others don't, because those are instincts that they had to hone very quickly for their own survival, because they knew that certain mannerisms or certain tones or certain actions, like something bad was about to go down, and you didn't, so it was like a defense mechanism. But we all do that to some degree. Even if you haven't experienced any kind of trauma, it's just things that you are picking up along the way That's a part of developing your own wisdom, and it's just sharpening your instincts. And so I think that's important when you are trying to be present and focus on the moment, that you are just kind of trusting yourself and trusting all that you've learned and experienced up to this point, the skills that you've honed, the knowledge that you now have is going to help get you through this present moment. But yeah, I guess that's really all I wanted to say on this. I could go on and on because I probably have a million anecdotes from my own life, but basically the bottom line is that it's a balance, right? It's being mindful of the future, what's gonna be happening, where am I going, but not so much that you're missing out on the present moment, and vice versa. Don't be so caught up in the present moment that you're not looking ahead, not having any sort of direction. So I'd love to hear in the comments, how do you balance these things? Like, I'd love to hear some stories from your own life or things that you've learned along the way to help you bring these things into balance. And until next time, may the Force be with you.